Well, I'm joined right now by Santorin after an unfortunate loss in the finals to Cloud9. Coverage brought to you by Alienware. Santorin, how are you doing? I know you're always a bit more of an emotional player, and that I feel like you kind of really take both the victories and the defeats pretty tough. So, how are you holding up after the loss just now?
I'm doing okay. Obviously, it sucks going out 3-0. Somewhat expected just because United is such a dominant team. But I do feel like we should at least taking it like one game. I feel like both game one and game three we had opportunities to actually win. But we fell short. We were either misplaying or not playing team fights properly. Which kind of sucks, like because I have like a high expectations of our team. But in the end, I'm really happy with how the season went, and I'm really looking forward to like summer split.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about expectations here. I feel like for a lot of people, they would not have predicted FlyQuest in the finals. And I mentioned that in an interview with Wild Turtle yesterday, and then somebody messaged me and they're like, "How dare you say that? You know, FlyQuest is great." But for yourself, I mean, did you anticipate finals and spring split when this new roster came together?
I definitely knew we were gonna be a top team. Like I'd probably say like top three, top four, because honestly, I thought Team Liquid was still gonna be dominant. I was thinking like TL, C9, and then there'd be like us and TSM, kind of like fighting for like three and fourth place. That was
Yeah.
like my expectations. But then after seeing how TL was like really, really bad, and TSM sometimes really on fire, like smurfing so goddamn hard, and they're one of the best teams, and all the times they're really, really bad. So I felt like pretty confident, like at least top three, like potentially top two.
Yeah. Well, you ended up surpassing and or even meeting your expectations on the high end with this final situation. What can you take me through kind of what the split was like for you? Because I remember it started pretty strong for FlyQuest. I think you guys picked up a lot of wins in the first couple of weeks, and then there's kind of a moment where you entered the soup, which I think was what Mark was calling it, in the middle. And
Yeah.
then you really rose up out of it at the end here and had your redemption win against Evil Geniuses after losing to them throughout the split. So maybe you can take me through what it was going on behind the scenes and how you were weathering this as the team developed over the course of spring.
I think in the beginning we came out really strong because we had all like played a lot of solo queue, so we just like prepared to go. There's definitely teams that hadn't played as much and just kind of seemed rusty, so it makes sense like why we started off strong. Then mid-season, I feel like people were catching up to us, and honestly, our practice didn't go that well. I felt like our scrims we were just making a lot of stupid mistakes. It didn't feel like we were improving from game to game. So after we lost, I don't remember, three out of like four games in a row, we decided to like have a big meeting and like kind of figure out like what we have to improve on. And I feel like the biggest one for us was kind of like how we do scrims, like the scrim environment. It didn't feel like we were actually learning much, and it felt like the other teams are getting better and better and better, and we're just like stale. Um, and then after that meeting, I feel like we're like kind of going up again, and we're becoming a way stronger team. And then we had one more bump. I think it was week 7 or 8 where I got really sick, and we I think we got 2-0 or something like that, and I had like really miserable performances. But I feel like as a team, like I know we have a lot of potential, and I think also the addition to Soul, I think that really helped the team because he's a really really stable player, and he's like a veteran that has a lot of good ideas, and I feel like he kind of like brought the last piece together where like now I feel like we're a really really strong team.
Yeah. Well, what do you think summer has in store for you? Do you think, because I feel like so many people after this split and after that finals are just gonna be like, well, congratulations Cloud9 on summer. You know what I mean? They're gonna be like, if anything goes wrong or it gets worse with the virus, we could just hand them the next trophy. But do you think that you guys will be able to close this gap on them at all?
It's somewhat hard to say because I feel like as individual players right now, I mean, even like the votings, they're all like MVPs. Like I like literally like all five players, I put them as MVP. I personally have Sven as their best player because I feel like he is the one role where I feel like he's so much more dominant than like everyone else. Like I feel like he's like by far the best AD carry right now. Whereas I do think like Blabber, Niski, Vulcan, Licorice all probably best in their positions as well. But I feel like the gap is like a little less. Like I feel like the gap between Sven and the AD carries is just too big. Um, so I think if we can kind of figure out like our style a little more, like what champions we want to play and how to actually beat them. Because I feel like right now their bot lane is kind of like making the meta for what bot lanes are being played. And I feel like first, when we start like making our own metas as like teams, that's when we're gonna like start taking over. Because right now we're just like falling into their base, like, oh, we play this match 100 times. Like, of course they're gonna shit on us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to the other player. Actually, you guys are all in the same team house, right? So I don't.
Yeah.
Have you guys exited your own rooms yet to talk to the other folks?
A little bit. I mean, so solo is obviously like somewhere else. I've only really talked to. Well, we had like a little team meeting after, like in Discord, but I actually haven't left my room yet.
Okay. Okay.
I think we're all like pretty happy with how it went. Obviously, like today was kind of a failure.
Yeah.
But I think everyone expected it. Like, it's very hard to beat C9, and I feel like it'd be like one of the biggest upsets in a history actually, because I feel like C9 definitely deserved this win.
Yeah. Well, I know that I've done this long enough that I can predict Reddit comments and YouTube comments in response to things. So I can already tell you that several in response to what you just said will be like, "That's why you lost. You didn't have the winner's attitude." You know, maybe you can tell me, is it some sort of trick, or is there some kind of trick where you should be able to convince yourself that you could beat them, or because it is, you know, it's just this Herculean feat to try to go up against a team that's that dominant. So when you're trying to get into the match today, like, do you do anything? Do you try to convince yourself that like, wait, we can definitely do this, or like they're not so strong, or who cares about the past?
Oh, I mean, for sure. I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I felt pretty confident going into today. Just like as players, you know, like we think we can beat them. That I'm just thinking like overall, like they had such a dominant split, and I feel like if there's one team that deserves it, it is C9. But obviously, in my perspective, like we can definitely beat them. As I said, I think game 1 and game 3 we actually had a good chance. And I felt like I just like the way why I said it like that is just I'd feel really bad for C9 if they didn't win this, because we're kind of like on the edge of like being top 4 or something like regular season, and then suddenly
Yeah.
just taking everything. Like I'd feel too bad for them, honestly. Like they're good friends of mine, and it fucking sucks for them.
You'd be like winning, but also feel really bad for them in that moment. That's
Yeah.
really. Hey, question for you, kind of a weird one, but do you just stay home now, or sorry, do you just stay at the team house and not get a chance to go home now? Because I don't know. I assume that with the travel situation, it would be very difficult for you to return here. So do you just have to like basically chill in the U.S. for what would normally be a time maybe when you'd be going home?
Yeah, exactly. This is my first time in the off season where I'm not leaving the day or the day after this split is over. Normally, I go to Denmark to visit my parents, and then to Canada to visit my girlfriend. So it's definitely like rough on me. Like I feel like being in the U.S. Like I like being in the U.S. obviously, but I definitely want to like spend as much time as I can with my loved ones. So it's definitely impacting like my life for sure.
Yeah. Well, especially because you're technically in the U.S., but where you're really in is in your bedroom in your team house right now for the next month, I guess. So,
Yeah.
I know that it's a defeat today, but is there any kind of you know, split celebration or anything you guys will be able to do at the house? I don't know if you guys have any plans, or if it's just kind of an eerie thing where you now just hang out, you know, like, all right, well, I guess that happened. You open up like Valorant or TFT or something like that and move on with your day.
I mean, obviously, off season we gotta play some Valorant. Gotta see how it is. In terms of team celebrations, I think we'll have something planned. Like I heard they're like talking about different things. I'm not sure what we actually can do because of the coronavirus. Because obviously we're still like trying to distance between each other. Like,
Yeah.
as the people in the house, obviously we'll like be close to each other, but everyone else like outside, we're not really allowing people in and stuff like that. So it's a tricky situation.
Yeah, I didn't know if it's like, well, let's order some ice cream or something, because it is actually just now, just talking to you, and I should have asked C9 this question too when I interviewed them, but like, how fucking weird it must be to be in your guys' situations where like normally, you know, nobody really thinks about what happens after the trophy's lifted, but normally like we're all in a different city and there's like an after party and people go out drinking or to some big dinner at an expensive restaurant or any of those things, and it's literally like, you know, in the same way I'm about to just walk out of my bedroom and go grab a drink from the kitchen, like you're,
Yeah.
you're just gonna hang out for the rest of the day, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think the thing that sucked the most about this whole situation is not being in on stage with the crowd.
Yeah,
I've never been less hyped for finals in my life. Like, like it's just like I literally just wake up. Like my bed is right here. I just sit by my PC, and then it's
yeah.
like, okay, it's time to play scrims. Like that's what it feels like, right? So I wonder how C9 feels because like they must feel great, but also like, damn man, like I'm sure they really want the crowd to chant their names, stuff like that, and like lift the trophy. And now it's just like, yeah, you're in your bedrooms.
I made this suggestion, I think to POE, but I'm gonna make it to you again because I've noticed that he ignored me. You guys gotta move, get like 5 computers and stick them. Well, I guess 4. Stick them in like the living room or something. Because at the very least, then yesterday when you guys won, you could like stand up and be excited rather than all being in your bedrooms. That's gotta. It's there's gotta be a better solution if you're all stuck there anyway. Because at C9 we're definitely all playing in the same room.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I'd prefer to be in the same living space too. It just feels weird. Like it's like I'm just playing from home, and it's sometimes hard to like get the motivation. I think like I'm a really motivated person, but even I can sometimes struggle to like, okay, I gotta wake up at this specific time, like eat at this time, like be ready to scrim, get a few solo games in. Sometimes it's just like hard to keep your schedule when your bed is right there. Like I
Yeah.
can.
No, I mean now we're going way off topic, but like whenever Kobe and I moved in together, I decided I was going to spend too much money to also have like to get a 3 bedroom just because like I need this office when I'm working from home because like the fact whenever I used to be able to turn around, walk 2 feet and collapse onto my bed, it was not a good productive mindset. So I know I have no power at all at FlyQuest, but I'm demanding that for Summer Split, if you guys want to beat C9, you get 4 computers from the office and move them into the living room or some other space there if you guys can fit it. Either way, Santorin, thanks so much for the interview. You haven't played any Valorant yet, have you, or have you played any?
No, but I'm gonna
Okay.
do it tonight, I think.
Okay, good. Well, please add me because I'm really bad, and all my friends have stopped wanting to play with me, and we can play. That would be good.
Sounds good.
Okay. For everyone else, I got him on the record. Oh, anything you want to say to any of the FlyQuest fans?
Just I'm really really happy with how like our split went. I know we've gained a lot of fans recently because of our new like initiatives, and I'm really happy that we as players can also like show performances. So it's not like only like the tree quest stuff like that. Like we can actually build a strong team and look to actually like do well internationally at some point too.
Well, thank you so much, Santorin, for the interview. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports, all leading up to the return of Summer Split, right here on my YouTube channel. Hello. I just wanted to thank you so much for watching that interview just now, that video. Sometimes these go on the back end of videos and not interviews. I mean, all interviews are videos, but not all videos are interviews. So I don't know which one you're seeing right now, but I'm going to assume it was an interview unless it was a video. Regardless, the whole point is that interview or video was sponsored by Alienware. You can check them out at alienware.com/Travis. There's a link in the video description below. And guess what? There's a whole new page there that's just dedicated around me. That's right. We've updated it, refreshed it. You can now see some of the products that myself and my team use for different things, as well as a special video over there that we put there. And it's going to update throughout the year. So either way, I hope that you can check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.